Titanic, a movie that will never be forgotten. And I say this because I think that a movie is not good because the viewers that he had when the movie was released. I think that a great movie is the viewers that that movie had have even years of the release of the movie, and that is Titanic, a movie that everyone will remember. Well, first of all, we have what is the movie about? Well, basically, the movie is about uh, based on a true story about a ship who crashed into an iceberg, and that led to the death of nearly 1,500 people. This movie is narrated by one of the survivors of the Titanic. Her name is Rose, and throughout the story, throughout the movie, she narrates everything that happened and how that day changed her life, and how that day really affect her, not only in a negative way but also in a positive way. Because when you see the movie, you can see how she described it, that how that event changed her life, and how that event make her found true love. And one of the important aspects about this movie is that the perfection that the director had, and this one aspect that I didn't know when I at first, but when I did my research, is that the actual time that the ship took to sink in the movie was actually the real time that the real ship got to sink, which means that every second of the movie is really every second in real life that the ship took to sink, which is actually amazing because if you think about it, the director went in every detail of this movie to make it as real as possible. The special visual effects of this movie. One of the things that really surprised me about this movie is the visual and special effect that they implemented. And I say that because taking in consideration that this movie was released in 1997, at a time there wasn't that evolved technology that we have now, but really they did a great job. And as the director of visual effects said, Titanic is basically a mix between real and fake, and he claims that the real things is always better. But he said that they constantly considering the trade-off between cost and the end of a result. And he gives an example about making a real life scale of the Titanic would have cost too much, and that's why it was better to make it on a computer. But even that, you know, people really didn't gave much attention to that because they really did a great job by making it so real. That even people thought that this was made on the Titanic in the movie was made in a scale. So I think that that's one of the reasons why this movie is so popular, because it has like a perfect balance between fake and not fake. Because I see now in the movies in these days, they really make it too obvious that it's fake. And that's why I think that only this movie is a classic, not only because it's a good movie, but also because they really did a great job in making it not too fake, that even people really enjoy it, the special effects that were implemented and the visual effects that were implemented. Um, the performance of the cast. This is one of the things that I always say about this movie, that the cast did really a great job in their performance, because you know for me acting is not easy. I mean, you're basically changing who you are to a whole different person. And the goal of these actors were to convince their audience that those characters that they were performing were actually them. And let me tell you, that is not an easy job. But even though the whole cast made a great performance, one of the things that really surprised me is that the actress who gave life to Rose, Kate Winslet, said in an interview that she suffered of hypotension while filming Titanic because of the cold water that she was exposed to. Because when you see in the film through the movie, when she gets into the cold water for the first time, that was her genuine reaction. And many actors would just acted like if the water was cold, but she wanted to have like a real reaction of it. And I think that's that's amazing because she really took her job really seriously and wanted to put an amazing performance to make the movie even better. And at the end, she ended up winning the Oscar for best performance in the movie. So that's great. One other aspect that I think that helped the movie to become such a success is the perfection that the director had. James Cameron, as I mentioned before, you know did really give attention to every detail of the movie to make it as similar to the real story. And as I mentioned before, he even made the movie the exact same time as the real life the ship it took to sink, which is a fun fact. And also, when he was making the movie, he really dived into the ocean to watch the real Titanic. And even in an interview, people said that he has spent more time in the Titanic than any real people in real life. And many people will say that um, he did all of these things because he had all the resources to do it. But really, it was not the case because while he was filming the movie, shocks took longer than it was supposed to, which means that they needed more money to make every shot of the movie. And he even had to give his own salary to make to continue filming the next scenes of the movie that weren't filmed. So that is a proof that if you really believe in something and you work hard, things can happen. And he really put his money where his mouth was. He said that this movie was going to be great, and that's exactly what happened. So I think that James Cameron did a great job in this movie, not only from making paying attention to every detail of it, but also by giving his whole time and effort to make this movie as good as possible. Now, here is like what I learned from the movie. This is a movie like I really took it as an example because this movie teaches me about life. Because when you see the movie, you realize that life can change in just a couple of seconds. When you see the movie, you see that everyone is happy, enjoying their life, and then in just a second, they were in a nightmare. So that made me think that we should take advantage of our time. But also, the movie teach me that love is one of the most powerful power there is, and that love can save someone's life or it can bring it down. I think that when you're in love, you can make stupid things. When you're in love, you basically don't follow your instincts. You follow your heart. Because when you see the movie, when in the part where Rose, she decided to stay with Jack, even though she knew that there was highly possibility of both dying. She could have just go to a safe place, but she didn't care about it. She just wanted to be with his true love. So that that made me realize that when people do stupid things for love, there's a reason for it. Because At the end, you want to protect and have, be all the time with that person. So I really think that this film, you know, teach me many things, and that's why I think that it's one of the best, if not the best, movies of all time. And also, I think that this film will always remain history. I think that even when the years passes, people are gonna still talk about this movie. And to be honest, it's a great movie. If you haven't watched it, you should definitely go and watch it.